It's cool to get the sound of the astroturf, too.
Yeah, so as soon as we put the astroturf down, it changed the whole dynamic of the gallery.
I'll see you on Sunday. See you on Sunday.
Before I leave, is there anyone else you think I should talk to, who maybe a close friend or? I noticed there was some guy sitting next to you the whole time.
Oh, that's my brother. Yeah, don't talk to him.
Have you seen a lot of your brother's work?
Quite a lot, yeah.
What do you think of this one?
I think it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of a building of an aesthetic of this other world that he inhabits.
I'm really interested in sculpture that has a life of its own, so I can create a couple of simple rules and watch how things propagate within those rules.
I was here for a lot of the creation of the piece.
What's your name?
Jenny. Jesse's work is so much about process, and it's hard to see that at first when you walk in, but the more time you spend with the piece, you really begin to see that.
So I make one of these units, and I calculate how long it will take me to make 1,500 of them. And that's a lot of how I make work, is very rules-based. That's how many there are, 1,500.
The essence of Jesse is to ask quite deep questions without letting on that he's asking you deep questions, and that way he acquires great knowledge.
You see there's a singular building block here that is a balloon wrapped in aluminum foil with a tail on the end. Because of the balloons has this sort of lifespan built into it. The air goes back into the world, dissipates. If you look at the top plane, it's just total chaos, but then they all have these roots in this strict grid or pure geometry.
I think that having a gallery in a residential neighborhood is a really brilliant thing.
Because I built all this work here and I just left the door open, but as soon as I opened the door, this street is so foot trafficked that people would just drop by, and be like, "What's that? What are you doing? What do you guys do here?" I had one kid who was like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, it's a sculpture." And he was like, "What's a sculpture?" "Oh, it's like a painting, but three-dimensional." It's like, "Oh, I thought I was done explaining when I said sculpture." So that may have been his first art experience, and that's great. That's really cool.
It's just it's a rich thing to add to the neighborhood and to just bring art into people's everyday lives.